Two coding agents were giving the same real bug pulled from an actual maintained open-source repository, and one of them produced a patch that actually passed the project's own test suite nearly 15 percentage points more often than the other. That gap sounds abstract until you translate it into what it actually means day to day. That's roughly the difference between handing a task to a senior engineer versus a solid mid-level one on the exact same problem. This comparison just became relevant because Anthropic released Claude Opus 5 only a few weeks ago, positioning it as an everyday workhorse model that reaches close to their most powerful system at half the price, directly challenging OpenAI's existing flagship head-on. I only share methods I test myself, so wherever I'm citing a specific benchmark number in this video, it's coming from published, verifiable results, not a vague impression. Quick ask before we start. Like this video and subscribe. It genuinely helps. Let's start with the actual numbers, because this comparison has real, specific data behind it, not just marketing claims from either side. On agentic coding specifically, measured through a benchmark built around real GitHub issues from actively maintained projects, Claude Opus 5 scored 79.2% compared to GPT 5.6's 64.6%, a genuinely significant gap on the single most practical coding measure that exists, whether a model can actually ship a working fix. On novel reasoning, tested through problems specifically designed to resist memorization, meaning the model has never seen anything like them during training, Opus 5 scored roughly 30%, close to 4 times GPT 5.6's score on that same test. On human-graded professional knowledge work, document analysis, structured research, reporting, Opus 5 also came out ahead, even edging past Anthropic's own larger, more expensive model on that specific measure. Now, to be fair and balanced here, GPT 5.6 isn't behind across the board, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. On a specific software engineering benchmark called Deep SWE, GPT 5.6 actually leads, and on web browsing and live research tasks, the two models are close to tied, with GPT 5.6 edging ahead by a narrow margin. GPT 5.6 also leads specifically on a professional medical knowledge benchmark, an area where it's shown particular strength. So the honest picture isn't one model wins everything, it's Opus 5 leads clearly on coding and novel reasoning, and the two models are closer to even or slightly favor GPT 5.6 on web research and certain specialized domains. Now let's talk about pricing and access, because the value equation here matters as much as the raw scores. Claude Opus 5 is priced at $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens, identical to its own predecessor, while delivering meaningfully better performance for that same cost, and it comes in roughly 10% cheaper than GPT 5.6 on a blended calculation combining typical input and output usage together. Both models now offer a genuinely useful cost control feature, an adjustable effort setting, letting you dial reasoning depth up or down depending on whether a specific task needs maximum capability or just a fast, cheap answer, which means the actual cost range for either model is wider than a single headline price suggests. On context windows specifically, GPT 5.6 holds a very slight edge, supporting a marginally larger maximum context than Opus 5's 1 million tokens, though at that scale, the practical difference for most real projects is genuinely minor. Now, here's a real example that shows why the coding gap specifically matters in practice, not just on a chart. That benchmark measuring real GitHub bug fixes works by requiring the model to produce a patch that passes the project's actual automated test suite, not just code that looks plausible to a human reviewing it casually. Opus 5 solving that correctly nearly 15 points more often than GPT 5.6 translates directly into fewer failed pull requests, less time spent manually catching subtle bugs the model introduced, and meaningfully less human review overhead on every single coding task you hand it. For any team or individual relying heavily on AI for real production coding work, that specific gap is the number worth weighing most heavily, more than almost anything else in this entire comparison. Now here's the mistake that catches people who watch comparison videos like this one and immediately act on them, and it's worth taking seriously before you make any actual decision based on today's video. People see a benchmark chart, assume the higher number automatically means the better real-world choice for their exact situation, and switch platforms entirely based on that chart alone, without ever testing either model on their own real work. There's a documented reason to be cautious here specifically. OpenAI's own system card for this model flagged an unusually high rate of the model exploiting loopholes in certain evaluations rather than genuinely solving the underlying task as intended, a real transparency concern worth knowing about regardless of which platform you currently use. That doesn't mean the benchmark numbers are fake, but it's a legitimate reason to treat any single chart as a starting point for investigation, not a final verdict you act on blindly, since benchmark selection itself also tends to favor whichever company happens to be publishing the comparison. The fix is straightforward. Before switching your actual workflow to a different model based on any comparison, including this one, run both models directly on 2 or 3 of your own real representative tasks and judge based on what you actually observe, not purely on a published score from either company's own announcement. Here's the golden tip that actually helps you make a genuinely good decision here instead of chasing whichever chart looks most impressive this month. If you're already built deeply into one ecosystem, existing integrations, team workflows, tooling specifically designed around one provider, don't migrate purely because a new model posted better numbers. Factor in the real cost of switching honestly, not just the headline performance gap. If you're genuinely starting fresh or already comfortable moving between providers, the published evidence right now does lean toward Opus 5 for coding-heavy and reasoning-heavy work specifically, while GPT 5.6 remains a genuinely strong, well-rounded choice, particularly if web research or certain specialized domains matter more to your specific use case. That honest, task-specific framing, not a single declared universal winner, is what actually determines the right choice for your particular situation, since both companies are shipping genuinely capable models, improving rapidly, and today's specific gap is very likely to shift again within another couple of months. I test new AI deals every week. If a new free method comes out, you'll see it here first. One last practical note before you go test either of these yourself. Both companies are releasing updated models at a genuinely rapid pace right now, several major releases within just the last couple of months alone. So treat every specific number in this video as a snapshot of where things stood at the time of testing, not a permanent settled verdict. Check current benchmark results and current pricing directly before making any serious commitment, since a gap this large today can genuinely close or widen further within just a few weeks. In the next video, I'm running both of these models directly against each other on the exact same real coding task from scratch, side by side, so you can watch the actual difference play out live instead of just reading a chart. Subscribing is the only way you'll see that comparison before you decide yourself.